Recording has started. Okay, yeah. So you're all welcome to class today again. And we've gone through the 4 pillars. We just went through as a recap. Yeah, we went through the 4 pillars of an identity infrastructure, which are administration, authentication, authorization, and auditing. Now let's look at modern authentication and the role of the identity provider. Modern authentication, we already know what authentication is now. Yeah, you verifying that you are who you say you are. So modern authentication is an umbrella term for authentication and authorization methods between a client and server. So at the center of modern authentication is the role of the identity provider, IDP. IDP offers authentication, authorization, and auditing services. So we know what all this means now. Yeah? Then that's authorization and auditing. Yeah, identity provider, IDP, enables organizations to establish authentication and authorization policies, monitor user behavior, and more. Yeah, we'll go through this in depth as we go on. And fundamental capabilities of an IDP and modern authentication include support for secure authentication methods, single sign-on, federation with other IDPs, and more. We have Microsoft Entra ID as an example of a cloud-based identity provider. Okay, so I'm going to break this down for you so that at least we understand this as we go on. Okay, so modern authentication. So modern authentication is an umbrella term for authentication and authorization methods between a client, such as your laptop or phone, and a server. Yeah, between a client, yeah, such as your laptop. So here, your client is your laptop or phone, and a server. Yeah, so like a website or application. At the center of modern authentication is the role of the identity provider. An identity provider creates, maintains, and manages identity information while offering authentication, authorization, and auditing services. That's your identity provider, IDP. Yeah, just remember that it creates, maintains, and manages identity information. Yeah. So all the identity information, that's what the IDP creates them, maintains and manages them, while offering authentication, authorization, and auditing services. So with modern authentication, all services, including all authentication services, are supplied by a central identity provider. Information that is used to authenticate the user with the server is stored and managed centrally by the identity provider. So you can liken this to your provider. Microsoft is a provider. Yeah. So here, you know, the modern modern authentication. Yeah. Just remember that, okay, like the identity provider is the one that creates and maintains and manages identity information. Yeah. The information that is used to authenticate the user with the server is stored and managed centrally by the identity provider. Yeah. There is the identity provider that stores and manages the identities, all the information. Yeah. All the information that is used, like if when you store your password and all that, is the
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on.
Is this central identity provider, is it something like database management or something like that?
Yeah, it's a database because it stores. Yeah, it stores all the information that is used to manage your identity. Yeah, so you can call it a database. A database is anything, a storage that houses information about your clients, or yeah, it's a database because it stores the information. Yeah. Okay, so with a central identity provider, organizations can establish authentication authorization policy, monitor user behavior, and identify suspicious activities and reduce malicious attacks. Yeah, because you have a central identity provider. So for more information about modern authentication and how it works, central identity provider, you have a video that you can watch on your learning path. Yeah. Okay. So if you go to your learning path, you'll see as a video you can watch there. And what we could also do, sorry, I was going. Okay. So another thing I'd like us to look at is okay, we'll get to the Microsoft. So the server validates the security token through its trust relationship with the identity provider. Yeah, by using the security token and the information that's contained within it. Yeah, the user or application accesses the required resources of the server. Yeah, in this scenario, the token, the information it contains is stored and managed by the identity provider. So all this information is stored and managed by the identity provider. So like I said earlier, it's a database. So if you want the information about the identity, yeah, you can you find it because it's centrally managed. Yeah. The centralized identity provider is supplying the authentication service. So for more information, you can also go through the learning path to check that out. And also you have your Microsoft Entra ID. And this is an example of a cloud-based identity provider. Yeah, Microsoft Entra ID. And other examples include X, previously referred to Twitter. Yeah. These are cloud-based identity providers: Google, Amazon, LinkedIn, and GitHub. Yeah. These are cloud-based identity providers. And you have single sign-on. Another fundamental capability of an identity provider and modern authentication is the support of a single sign-on. Can somebody tell us what do you, if you hear single sign-on, what does that mean? What can you say about single sign? Yeah? Aloysius, Emma?
I think like it's a situation whereby somebody who wants to use the services of the provider probably is provided with a token that you use in signing in. And when you sign, it has to be validated and checked and then stored in the, after all the, like, we do in like maybe WhatsApp, Facebook and all that. That's my own understanding. I don't know if I'm right. So sometimes they give you a token, to sign in. And then after you sign in using that token, they will verify to make sure that the person who they believe is the original person signing in. Sometimes they say if you're a human, sure, it's something like that. I don't know how to say, but there's always cases like that where you want to validate your identity, and they're giving you that token, to do that. So that's what my own understanding. I don't know if I'm right.
Okay.
Single sign.
Can I try?
Aloysius, do you want to try?
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. Single sign-on, I think is a process, is an authentication process that allows a user to access a kind of a multiple application or system within a set of login. For example, now, when you log in with your Google account, you can be able to access your YouTube and other applications that some okay, for example, now there are some applications you will open. For the fact that your Google account is signed in, they will ask you if you want to log in with your Google account or something like that. I think that's single sign.
Okay, yeah. You use one sign-on exactly. You don't have to sign in again. Yeah, you can use your Google account to sign in to several accounts. Yeah. So each time you don't have to fill out all the forms. So another fundamental capability of an identity provider and modern authentication is a support for single sign-on SSO. So with single sign-on, the user logs in once. That's why it says it's single sign-on once. And that credential is used to access multiple applications or resources. Yeah.
Okay.
Like if
Okay.
just like you said now, if you want to sign in into another software, it might tell you you can use your Google. You will just say, do you want to use your Google account? So you don't have to now say your name, password, and all that. You just use your Google sign in to sign up. Yeah, just use your Google account sign-ups to sign-ups. So when you set up SSO between multiple identity providers, it's called federation. Yeah, please take notes. Yes,
Come
single
again.
sign-on. I said when you set up single sign-on between multiple identity providers, it's called federation. Yeah. Okay. Just remember that with single sign-on, yeah, you log in once, yeah, and that credential is used to access multiple applications or resources. You know, like if you're signing in into, okay, you mentioned Facebook, you could even use your Google account, yeah, sign up. Because once you sign up with in Google, he already knows your credentials. He has your credentials, your username. He has your username. He has your password, and they ask you other questions too. So you use it to sign up, and your identity is already there. Yeah, and you can use it to sign up into other applications. Yeah, so you don't have to now start filling out the password again and all that. Yeah. So
And you
federation.
said, okay, yeah, go ahead. That's what I wanted to ask. The federation.
Okay, yeah, I said that when you set up single sign-on between multiple identity providers, it's called federation. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. We'll also look at okay, here also modern authentication includes capabilities such as multi-factor authentication. We've come across multi-factor authentication. We know what that is. Yeah, you remember what MFA stands for? What's MFA again? Can somebody remind us?
Multi-factor
Yes.
authentication.
Multi-factor authentication. What does it mean? What's MFA again? You already remember. You know what authentication is. So what's the multi-factor authentication?
Okay, multi-factor is a process in which a user is prompted during sign-on process for additional form of identification.
Say that again.
That's a process where a user is prompted during signing process for an additional form of identification.
Correct. Yeah, that's why it's called multi-factor. Yeah, you do it more than once. Additional. Yeah, additional verification. You don't just do verify once. It doesn't just ask you for your password, because password is one verification. I ask you for your password, but aside from password, it will ask you for another verification. Yeah, it can ask you to, it can send a code to your phone. Remember, yeah, phone to verify. Yeah, that's an additional verification. That's why it's called MFA, multi-factor verification. And authentication methods that are phishing resistant. So MFA and the different authentication methods are covered in the section on. We'll look at the Microsoft Entra and look at that. So the concept of directory services, let's look at that here. Okay. So the concept of directory services. A directory, can somebody tell us what do you even understand by directory? A directory, I mean in computers, when you talk about directory, what is directory in a layman's language? What is even, yeah, can somebody go? Who wants to go?
Well, directory is just like a place where you store information. That means, like you said, that layman's way of explaining it.
Okay.
You store information, and then that excuse me.
You store information, like what information? Can you give us an example?
Like something like name, address, and telephone number and all that stuff.
Okay.
Okay, let me try. In a
Okay.
layman's
Okay, yes,
understanding,
okay, 1 minute before you go. Yes, okay, like you said, you have a phone directory. That's a directory. Your phone directory has names of people and their phone numbers. Yeah, so that's a directory. Yeah, okay. Okay, go on, Aloysius.
okay, in a layman's understanding, directory could be a pathway you follow to get a resources. To locate.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said directory is a pathway. If let me say a defined path one can follow to fetch an information or get an information. Let me use that. Just a pathway follow to get something. In a nutshell.
To get some information.
Yeah,
huh?
but when you talk about computer, in computer terms, is a structured system used to store, manage, and organize information. That's directory.
Okay. So yeah, a directory is a hierarchical structure that stores information about objects on the network. Yeah. That stores information. Okay, like the example I gave, phone directory stores information about individuals and their phone numbers. Yeah, some even have addresses of individuals. That's a phone directory. Tell you their addresses, to their phone number. So a directory service stores directory data and makes it available to network users, administrators, services, and applications. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, even the phone directory is your data. The data it's storing is your phone, your names, the names of individuals' phone numbers, and you can access it. You can access it like in the office, in the offices, in organizations. You have phone directory, even if it's like extensions for each person. And you have it available to the staff. Yeah, so they can communicate with each other. So a directory service stores directory data and makes it available to network users, administrators, services, and applications. The best known service of this kind is Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS. Active Directory Domain Services is a central component in organizations with on-premises IT infrastructure. Okay, must have explained on-premises, what on-premises is. Yeah, when we're talking about SaaS, we talked about SaaS, PaaS, and we talk about on-prem. Yes. Do we remember that? Remember when we know what on-prem IT, we know what, when we said on-prem, we remember what that is. Do we?
You said what?
On-prem. You know what on-prem is?
On-prem.
On-prem.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that when we were talking about SaaS, PaaS.
Yeah, on-prem. On-prem. Yeah. That's
Can you remember?
Yeah. Hardware and software that are physically located within an organization. On-prem.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you have the infrastructure
Yeah, rather than
located physically, in an organization, on their premises. That's why it's called, or that's why it's called on their premises, on the premises of the organization. Yes, that's what that means. That's a literal meaning. Yeah, they have everything, but now we have the cloud. Yeah, instead of having
the on-prem.
in the on-prem, you have all this infrastructure located in cloud. You see, it's saves a lot of money because you don't have to buy your infrastructure. You just pay for what you require. Yeah, you don't have to pay so much for storage, for your hardware. Yeah, and it allows for scalability. You can scale up, you can scale down. Yeah, that's cloud for you. Mhm. And you also have the Microsoft Entra ID. This is evolution of identity and access management solutions, providing organizations with identity as a service. Yeah, solution for all their apps across cloud and on-prem. Okay. And the concept of confederation, I did mention federation before. Before we go to federation, let me just break this down a bit here. So here, in the context of a computer network, a directory is a hierarchical structure that stored information about objects on the network, like I did mention before. A directory service stores directory data and makes it available to network users, administrators, services, and applications. And Active Directory, AD. Yeah, you have Active Directory. This is a set of directory services developed by Microsoft as part of Windows 2000 for on-premises domain-based networks as the Active Directory. Yeah, so the best known service of this kind is Active Directory Domain Services, the ADDS that we came across earlier. This stores information about members of the domain. Yeah, we said directory stores information. Yeah, so the ADDS stores information about the domain, including devices and users. Yeah, it verifies their credentials and defines their access rights. That's the permissions the users have. Yeah, like it's like you have the names of people, their access, people that are administrators, the viewers, the contributors. Yeah, defines the access right. So a server running ADDS is a domain controller. So you have the information with the Active Directory, yeah, and you have the Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS, yeah. Just like you have your phone book, you have also this ADDS that stores information about members of the domain, yeah, including devices and users. Yeah, it verifies their credentials, and you have the rights they have, each user has, defines their access rights, those that have the permissions each users have. So you have all that in the ADDS. Yeah. Yeah, just like you have your phone directory. So you have this one with all these details, information stored there. So the ADDS is a central component in organizations with on-premises IT infrastructure. Yeah, so the Active Directory Domain Services is you'll find it in on-prem. Yeah. ADDS gives organizations the ability to manage multiple on-premises infrastructure components and systems using a single identity per user. Yeah. So ADDS doesn't, however, natively support mobile devices, SaaS applications, or line of business apps that require modern authentication methods. Yeah. Just remember that the ADDS gives organizations the ability to manage multiple on-premises infrastructure components. And this is where you have, like I mentioned earlier, yeah, it stores information about members of the domain, including devices. So if you want the members, which they mean like the users, if you want the devices you have there, and credentials that you know, and the permissions, yeah, each users have. This is where you can get it, because this is where you can get all the information, the ADDS. So the growth of cloud services, we talked a bit about the SaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. Yeah. So the growth of cloud services, SaaS applications, and personal devices being used at work has resulted in the need for modern authentication and an evolution of Active Directory-based identity solutions. And the Microsoft Entra ID, previously known as the Azure Active Directory. Okay, Microsoft has changed the name now. It used to be referred to as Azure Active Directory, Azure AD. Now it's called the Microsoft Entra ID.
Entra ID.
Yeah, so we don't have the name has changed now from Azure Active Directory to Microsoft Entra ID. So if you come across Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, know that we're referring to
Microsoft Entra ID.
Correct, yeah. So this is the next evolution of identity and access management solutions. Yeah, identity and access. When we say identity and access management solutions, that's the IAM. The IAM here is, I mean, when you talk about IAM, we're not referring to the I am that I am here. God, we're referring to identity and access management. Yeah. It provides organizations with an identity as a service. That's the AIDAAS, identity as a service. Yeah. You've come across SaaS, software as a service, PaaS, platform as a service, and IaaS, infrastructure as a service. So it's just seen here, IDAS, identity as a service solution, for all their apps across cloud and on-premises. So in this course, we'll focus on Microsoft Entra ID, a solution within the Microsoft Entra family of products, Microsoft's cloud-based identity provider. Yeah. So when you when you hear Microsoft Entra ID, you know that this is Microsoft's cloud-based identity provider. Yeah. And it was formerly referred to as Azure Active Directory. Okay. So with federation, trust isn't always bi-directional. Yeah. although IDP, like I did mention earlier that okay, we have the federation. So yeah, okay, we talked about the zero trust. Do we remember what's the zero trust again? What's the zero trust again? Can somebody remind us what zero trust is?
Zero trust.
Huh?
Zero trust.
I think we even came across it. Was it the first class or the second class? Zero trust.
I think it's the second class.
Okay.
The last class.
Okay, so what's zero trust? Okay, if it's the last class, then it should still be fresh in your mind. Zero trust, even from the name. You see,
yeah,
the name,
zero trust.
as a hint, I'm saying it in your own words, just so you understand it. I'm just, yeah, go on.
That is a kind of not trusting anything does which it requires a street identification for every user, not trusting any user at all.
Exactly. Trust no one. Zero trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you added also say you trust, but at the same time you verify. I remember you saying that.
No, I said, okay, yes, trust no one. Don't trust anybody. Trust no one. Yeah. So you need to verify explicitly. Yeah. Verify explicitly. So these are, I think it's the first class we did. So zero trust means trust no one. Don't trust anybody. You have to verify explicitly. So a common example of federation in practice is when a user logs into a third-party site with their social media accounts, such as X, yeah, previously known as Twitter. Yeah, this is like having, okay, in this scenario, X is an identity provider, and the third-party site might be using a different identity provider, such as Microsoft Entra. So there's a trust relationship between Microsoft Entra and X. Okay, this is you signing up, like I explained before, using Google to sign up into another application. We're using Twitter as an example here. Are we following?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, do you understand this? Yeah. Like if you the example here is using Twitter. Like if you want to sign up for Twitter, yeah, you can use your Google account. So you don't have to, like the example I gave you earlier, you don't have to sign up for Twitter again. Just use your Google account to sign in. Yeah, that's what this is saying. Yeah. So that's an example of federation. Federation. When the user logs into a third-party site with their social media account. Okay. So if you want to access another, if you want to log into another account or sign up for another application, you can use any of the accounts you already signed up with, Google or Twitter or any of the social media accounts. Okay. Before we go to summary, let me see what I still have here. Okay, we looked at the concept of federation, a simplified way to think about federation. The website uses the authentication services of identity provider A, IDPA. Yeah. Then the user authenticates with identity provider B. Okay, so here, a simplified way to think about federation. Yeah, so if you have, like, here you have shared access between the user and the website. Yeah, user authenticates with identity provider B. Yeah, then here you have the website app or service authenticates with identity provider A. Yeah, and IDP trusts IDPB. The identity provider A trusts IDPB. Yeah, so these are the different domain A and this is domain B. Yeah, so you don't have to sign in twice. Yeah, you can use, this is shared access. You can sign in with, you can sign in once. Yeah, use the same, remember where you have the single sign-on, and when you have used that single sign-on to sign in into other applications, that's federation. Remember I explained that earlier. Yeah? So this is an example of federation using the same signing to go into domain A and domain B, because the identity provider A trusts identity provider B. Yeah, so you can sign up with one account, just like you have, like I explained earlier, you can use the Google account to sign in into multiple accounts. Yeah, sign up into different applications. So the user authenticates with identity provider B. Yeah, as you can see in this diagram, IDPA has a trust relationship configured with IDPB because there's a trust relationship. Yeah, so you can use the same to sign up. So when the user signs into the website, they can trust the user's credentials and allow access. Yeah. Okay, do we understand that?
Yeah.
Are we following?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an example of, this is an example of shared access. So you are using, because the identity provider A trusts B. Yeah. So you can use the same sign up to access domain A and B. Okay. So that's federation for you. Okay, so let's look at the summary. Describe the concepts of security, compliance, and identity. So in this learning path, we have learned about some important security and compliance concepts, including the shared responsibility model, defense in depth, and how the CIA triad represents the goals of a cybersecurity strategy. Can somebody remind us what CIA stands for? Ima, you want to go first?
Confidentiality, integrity, and confidentiality, integrity, and what is that?
Is it confidentiality, integrity, and is it compliant? No.
And what?
Availability. Availability, yeah. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Okay. Okay, and remember CIA. Yeah. Why confidentiality? Why you have integrity and availability? These are the goals of a cybersecurity strategy. It needs to be confidential. Yeah. Talk about integrity here, and has to be also available to the person that needs it, the person that has access. And we looked at the guiding principles and the 6 foundational elements of the zero trust model. Yeah, and the concepts of governance, risk, GRC. We learned about some important identity concepts, including authentication and authorization. We've gone through this several times, so we should all know what authentication and authorization mean. Identity as the new security perimeter that enables organizations to secure their assets, and the role of an identity provider, directory services, and federation. Yeah. So we went through all that. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go through a knowledge check. Okay. Okay, so who wants to take the first one? You might want to take the first one.
The human resource organization wants to ensure that stored employee data is encrypted. Which security mechanism will they use?
So what would you go for?
Is hashing A.
No.
Wants to ensure that the stored
Encryption at rest
is encrypted. Which security mechanism will they use?
The human resource organization want to ensure that stored employee data is encrypted. Which security mechanism would be used? Encryption at rest.
Okay, do you agree? Who answered that? Was that a lawyer?
Yeah.
Allah, is that you?
Yes. Encryption at rest.
Okay, Matt, do you agree with him?
I said hashing.
No, but it's not hashing now. You look at the question. It says the human resources organization wants to ensure that stored employee data is encrypted. Stored employee data,
encrypted.
Stored employee data is encrypted. We're talking about encryption here, and it's stored employee data. Yeah. So it's encryption at rest. Stored employee data. Yeah, is encryption at rest. Okay, because stored. Okay, so this was a mass question. But, okay, Aloy answered that. Okay, you might want to take the second one.
Which of the following best describe the concept of data sovereignty?
Sovereignty.
There are regulations that govern the physical locations.
So these are samples of the questions that you come across. Yeah.
Particularly,
yeah, on the exam. So let's get used to that.
by every data sovereignty from government physical location. I think it's A.
You are
No,
right.
read it. Can you read it out, please?
There are regulations
Okay,
that
yeah, data, particularly personal data, is subjected to the law and regulation of a country region in which it's physically collected, held on. Yes, the answer is B.
is B.
Which of the following best describe the concept of data sovereignty? There are regulations that govern physical location where data can be stored and how and when it can be transferred, processed, or accessed internationally. Data, particularly personal data, is subject to the law and regulation of the country/region in which it is physically collected, held, or processed. The answer is B. Trust no one, verify everything. No, the answer is B.
Why
Why?
did you say it?
Because
What about the sovereignty there?
why? Because the data sovereignty means like let's say yes, digital data whereby okay that is regulated by a legal jurisdiction of a given country where data resides.
So you're saying B.
Yes.
Emma, do you agree with him?
Well, I'm saying no. I disagree. I said A because of the data sovereignty. So my mind tells me, it has to do with the freedom, to of to locate your to locate and store data internationally or as applied to a particular country. So that's why I'm looking at it. The answer to be A. I don't know.
Well, let me say the thing is a bit interwoven, but I might choose A. Why? Because A give a clearer explanation than B anyway. Because in A now, it tells you that that particular maybe region or location gives you the regulation on how to manage these data, where to process and how to. Okay, let me go by A anyway.
Okay, so you're now saying A.
Yeah, A.
So why did you change your mind? Why are you going for A now?
I said that A gives a clearer view of what a data sovereignty is. Though B is close, but A
B.
gives a
Yeah,
clearer view.
I think both of them, either of them can be
Yes,
right.
you know I choose because A now talks about regulations, rules and regulations governed by maybe a particular region or a country. Though they did not mention country or region, but they say regulation that governs a physical location. That physical location now refers to a country or region. You understand? Where data can be stored and how, yes, how data, because this country now, they give regulation, this body now, they give regulation how you store data. When you can transfer the data, when to process it, and how to access it internationally. I think A gives a clearer view.
Okay,
If I'm to say, oh, so Emma, I don't know.
okay. We'll come back to that. Let's finish all the questions. Okay, the next one. Who wants to take this? Who wants to
Trust
take
Um,
this?
relationship.
I think it's B. Is it
Trust,
No, read it, read it,
trust.
read it first. Read it first,
which
please. Who
which
wants to take it?
relationship type allows federated services to access resources?
Trust relationship because IDPA trusted ID to be. That is why it has to allow it to access resources. I think, yes, the right option, the correct option there is C, trust relationship.
Emma, do you agree with him?
Yeah, I agree with him. Initially, when I looked at it, I thought it was shared, but on a second
Emma,
thought,
remember, before you share, you have to trust,
and you have
because
to
you can't
trust. That's
share
what I said.
if you don't
On a second
trust.
thought, I said it. Trust. C is the answer. Trust relationship.
Okay. So do you agree with him now? Trust
Yes.
relation. Okay, so both of you are saying trust relationship. Then the last one, who wants to go?
Authentication is the
Emma, you want
process
to
of
take?
doing what, Emma? Verifying that a user
Verifying
or
A.
device is what they use say they are. Exactly. That's A.
Do you
Emma, do you
agree?
agree with me?
Yeah, I agree with you. The answer is A. Verifying that a user or device is who they
Is who
say
they
they
say
are.
they are. Exactly.
Correct. Okay. Now let's
I think I might. I explained to Aloy earlier. I said, I will be on the road between 10:30 and 11. I'll be closing.
you'll be on the
But
road.
yes, I explained to him earlier that if we have to start by 9, between 10:30 and 11, I will be on the road going back home. Right now, I'm still in my office.
Oh, we are still in the office.
Yes,
Oh, so you want to leave now?
yes, because it's
Okay.
getting
Okay.
late.
Anyway, okay. Okay.
I
Let's.
suggested, I said, probably 11, by 11, I'll be home. And then anytime from 11 all the way, I'm ready. But uh, he told me that you said we'll start by 9. So I said, okay, let me hang on and as much as I can go.
Okay. Okay. We're rounding up now. So yeah, rounding up now. Okay. Okay. We can round up actually. Let's just look at this then. Take it
Okay.
from. Yeah. Okay. Let's just go through this knowledge check. So, okay, so where we said, okay, in the questions, yeah, where we said encryption at rest is correct. Encryption
Okay.
at rest could be part of a security strategy to protect stored employee data. Remember when we say stored, that's encryption at rest. Stored, you want to encrypt stored data, that's encryption at rest. Yeah. And the second question that says, which of the following best describe the concept of data sovereignty? The correct answer here
Is
is
B.
yes. Where it
Is
says
B?
data sovereignty, yeah, B.
Yeah.
Data sovereignty is the concept that data, particularly personal data, is subject to the laws. Remember here, it was specific. I mean, you were right initially, but because here it specifically says laws and regulations of the country. Yeah, data sovereignty, in which it's physically collected, held, or processed. Yeah, so it's B. That's the correct answer here. Yeah. Then, okay, so trust relationship is right here. Federated services use a trusted relationship to allow access to resources. Yeah. And authentication is the process of doing that. Verifying a user or device is who they say they are. We should all know that anyway. Authentication is the process of verifying users' devices who they say they are. Yeah, so you guys did well with this, and this yeah, we've gone through the summary, and okay, this is the quiz that we just went through. So let's. It seems you need to leave now. We can round up the class because I was just on. We can round up the class then.
Okay.
The next class, yeah, the next class I'll just take. We'll just go through this to revise again. Yeah,
Okay.
but please
Right.
always go through your learning path to revise what we've studied. Yeah.
Okay.
When we're meeting tomorrow again, are we? For 5:30 or 6. What time do you want us to meet tomorrow? Should they leave it for 6 or for 5:30? I mean, I'm fine now because we could do 6 to 8 if you want, or 6 to. Is 5:30 okay by you, or 6? What time do you prefer?
Okay. Let's try 5:30 tomorrow.
Okay, so 5:30 tomorrow. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good
See you
night.
tomorrow. Have a lovely night.
Okay, you too.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Good night. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have you stopped
Yeah.
recording?
Yeah, I'm just going to stop recording exactly. And please, the man, don't forget to leave the class. Let's so that it doesn't stay on. Don't stop recording. Okay. Good night, everyone.